Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. Today we have a good friend of ours, Bob Harig, as our guest, and he has written a lot of books on Tiger Woods, and his most recent one is about Jack and Tiger. But he's also the only golf writer who named his son after Jack Nicklaus. So, and when we first saw Jack Nicklaus, he was teeny, but now he's like 6 feet tall or something. Welcome, Bob.
Yeah, he's actually a little taller than that, and he's heading into his senior year of college. So yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Time
Can't
goes
believe
by
you
in a
didn't
hurry.
name him Tiger, Bob. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Nicholas part is a little bit of a kind of a family joke. It's not quite spelled the same, but it sounds good, and it gets a great reaction when you tell people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's a good story.
Yep, it sure is.
Well, and the title of the book is Jack versus Tiger, not Tiger versus Jack, correct?
Yeah, not you know what no, it's Tiger v Jack.
Oh, it is Tiger v. Jack. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know how they decided on that, to be honest with you. It could have gone either way. Maybe it's because it was Tiger going after Jack, and that makes
Got it.
sense, I suppose. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
that was
makes
always
sense.
it was Tiger chasing Jack. Jack's record was set with nothing he could do about it when Tiger came along.
So when you had the idea for this book, how did you go about addressing how you were going to pursue it? And, there's a lot of ways to compare them, but when
Yeah,
you're starting at square one, you're looking at it going, yeah, there's a million directions I could go with this.
no question. Well, first of all, I also wanted to make sure I identified a few other people that might be in the argument, and so I probably left a couple out, but I went with Jones, Hagen, and Hogan. Walter Hagen has the third most majors, the way we count them.
Yes.
Bobby Jones is the one who actually, kind of made us care about majors originally, and which led to a lot of, why Tiger and Jack are so important in what they accomplished. And of course, Hogan basically made his career about majors after his horrific car crash,
Yeah.
and is the one who got to the highest total outside of Hagen, and obviously Gary Player also, but did it with so many fewer opportunities because he just obviously couldn't play as much. And so I wanted to introduce them, and I obviously wanted to get into, like, why do the majors matter? How did they evolve? But ultimately, you get back to really, I think, celebrating both Tiger and Jack's careers. They're great records. You would have a hard time, I think. Like, there are people that want to argue with me either side of this, and I'll tell them you're not necessarily wrong. Like, if you want to pick Tiger or if you want to pick Jack, there's arguments, tons of arguments for each player, each side. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. I don't know that there is a right answer to this argument, but I think exploring it is fun, and getting into some of the nitty gritty is interesting. And so that's what I tried to do.
Well, to me, Jack had a slightly better record. Tiger had a better game. I mean, Jack never had a short game, and Tiger had one of the great short games of all time. And they were both great putters, although I would argue Tiger was one of the great putters of all time, even better than Jack. So you're right, there's no wrong answer. And we're lucky enough to be at that age where we saw both of these guys play. So it's a meaningful comparison versus Jones versus Hagen. It's like, we never saw them play. We only read about them.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I tried to get at it that way. I mean, Jack's longevity clearly trumps Tiger's in that he just didn't miss majors. He played from 62 to 98 without missing a single major, which is remarkable. And we know how many Tigers missed. Tiger missed a lot of opportunities in his prime. As he was approaching 40, when he won a major at 43, greatly diminished. How many could he have won had he not been diminished before that? So there's that aspect to it. But
I
then
always thought probably 100. 100 would
yeah,
have been out of the question.
yeah. I mean, it might have been 100 wins. It might have been 25 majors. We don't know. I mean, certainly. Now, then again, Jack had 19 seconds in majors. Tiger only had 7. A lot of people like to skew it towards Jack because of that. Jack was in contention more. Jack had more opportunities. If Jack had 19 seconds, well, turn a few of those into wins, and now you're into the 20s of majors. But there's also, to me, and I went into great detail about this, the whole field strength argument, and the argument on the Jack side of that is, well, look at all the major champions and all-star, Hall of Fame golfers he had to go up against, which is true. Gary Player,
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer, Seve, Johnny Miller,
Trevino,
Casper, Trevino, Watson. There's a
Yeah.
lot of them. And Jack finished second to a bunch of them. Whereas Tiger didn't quite have that, although he still had Hall of Famers like Phil, VJ, Ernie Els, Retief Goosen, even Mark O'Meara. Mark O'Meara won 2 majors after Mark O'Meara got to 2 majors before Tiger did. I mean,
Yes.
he would, so it's not like those guys are they're terrible, right? But I would just I went to great length to make the argument, and I think Jack even agrees that the fields are deeper in Tiger's time, and they're probably deeper now than they were in Tiger's. There's just the world evolved. There's more golfers, there's more golf courses, there's more training. Jack, when he won his first Open Championship at Muirfield, there was less than 10 Americans in the field. So like the best golfers in the world are mostly in America, and they weren't going over.
Yeah.
On the other side, when he was towards the end of his career, it really wasn't until the 86 Masters that he faced a very representative international field of players. As late as 1980, when he won 2 majors, the U.S. Open and the PGA had less than 10 or 12 international players in their fields. They were very American skewed, and yet at that time, golf was starting to pick up. Well, it's picked up even more now. We've got golfers from Norway and Sweden and Finland and all over the place. I mean, look, back when Jack was winning majors, I don't know that anybody from South Korea was stepping up. Y.E. Yang clipped Tiger, right? So
we got a major champion from the island of Fiji, Bob.
Yeah.
And he won 3 majors. So what are the odds of that? That never would have happened.
Right. I mean, there was just more access. The game became a lot more global. And so, and I think there's a great stat that I was blown away by when, I don't know if I stumbled into it or how I found it, but when Tiger tied Jack with his 73rd PGA Tour win, obviously Jack got to 73. Ironically enough, it was at the Memorial in 2012. So, obviously it's Jack's tournament. Tiger wins 73rd PGA Tour title. I believe it was his 5th Memorial. And he got to that number in 200 less starts than Jack. Ooh. I mean, you're talking about 10 years worth of tournaments. And that really surprised me because Jack didn't play a lot of tournaments either.
He only played about maybe 19 a year.
Yeah, and I mean, so did Tiger. Not early on, they maybe might have played a little bit more. So that was an interesting one to me. And so I kind of tried to make the argument that you could plausibly argue that 15 is as good as 18, that certainly, Tiger won 9 more PGA Tour events. I think another interesting stat along those lines is Jack and Billy Casper were the last players to get to 50 PGA Tour wins in the early 70s. I believe they did it about a month apart. Jack, I think, beat Billy Casper to it by a month, and then Billy Casper became the 6th player to do so. There was not another player get to 50 wins until Tiger in like 2006. So what does that tell you? It's harder to get to 50 wins. It was
Very
easier, and it was easier in that era. There were 6 players who did it, obviously all great, great players. But after that, like Tom Watson didn't get there. Phil
Yeah.
Mickelson didn't get there. There's a lot of great players. I mean, today, Rory's got what, 31 PGA Tour wins? If he
I
gets
haven't
to
looked at
40,
it.
I think it's 31. If he gets to 40, that's incredible.
That's
Incredible.
huge. Yeah.
And yet it's halfway to Tiger. So
Yep.
I just think there's a lot of evidence to suggest it was harder to win for Tiger. But I don't mean for any of that to take away from what Jack did. I mean, Jack could only beat who he beat, who could only play against who he played against. He still won at an amazingly high level. He had 35 top 10s in majors out of 40 in the 1970s. 35 out of 40. Missed one cut. So it's, again, you go back and forth on this, and that's why, to me, I think it's such a great debate. I'm not sure there's a perfect answer.
Well, and Jack's also got Tiger totally whipped in the kids and grandkids category. It's like 25-2 or something. I've lost track of Jack's grandkids.
He's got everybody whipped in that.
But he's got quite a few. So, yeah, Jack didn't play as much because he was having a family, and Tiger didn't play as much because it was such an ordeal for him to travel. And, he would rent a home and he would bring his own furniture to be comfortable. I mean, it was an ordeal for Tiger to go to these tournaments. Because when you're the most famous man on earth in the era of social media, that's a whole different ballgame that I think is underrated in what he did.
Yeah, and Tiger, when he first came out, the social media wasn't to the level that it is now. He got a lot of it, but not as much as in the early days when he was winning at such a high rate. But obviously, that's nothing. Jack didn't have any of that. Jack might have had more like print media around, but there wasn't the TV exposure. There wasn't the requests. Look at the car wash these guys go through at every tournament.
Yeah,
it's exhausting after a round. And Tiger did that a lot. And we criticize guys for skipping the media when they do. We don't like it. It's not something that we want. Many times it's understandable. Tiger got called out for it whenever he did, but he didn't do it that much. I mean, really, in the big picture, he rarely skipped post-round media, and he was asked to talk after every single round.
Yeah.
Yes. And he did it. I mean, that was impressive.
And Scotty's having to go through that some now, and he gets frustrated by it. When he has a tough day, and then there's what PGA Tour Radio, there might be Golf Channel, there might be the network, and then he comes and talks to the print media, and by the time he gets to us, he's asked some of these same questions for the 4th time, and he's hot and bothered, and he just shot 71 and missed 8 putts, and he doesn't want to deal with it. I get it, but like Tiger did that all the time.
Yeah.
And so, give him credit for that. Jack has been the greatest at dealing with us. I don't know if there's anybody in sports who's ever dealt with the media as well as Jack did. But Tiger Arnold, of course. But Tiger, in his own way, he didn't really give a lot, and he certainly didn't give a lot of give and take in terms of one-on-one time or any of that. But he did talk after almost every round, which is remarkable when you think about it.
It has to be exhausting.
You mentioned the car wash they go through with the media, Bob. For them to be out in public is another car wash, because now everybody's got their cell phone out and they're filming you.
Yeah.
They're not just asking for an autograph or asking for a picture. They're filming you in a restaurant or filming you. I mean, it's really intrusive, which I think people don't realize unless they're in that guy's shoes, because everywhere you go, you're a marked opportunity for video. It's kind of sad, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, they at a tournament site, they're pulled in a lot of different directions, especially if they're famous or they're really good. It's not just by the media. The tour has sponsors and partners. Hey, Can you do a meet and greet? Can you go give a little talk? Can you shake hands? You know, hey, here's the CEO of such and such company while they're eating breakfast. You know, it's being at a tournament site is relentless sometimes for these guys. And look, I can imagine Jack and Arnie face that to some degree too, but there was far less media exposure. I mean, look, tournaments weren't even on. There was a couple of hours of TV on Saturday and Sunday. It wasn't every day. You know, there wasn't a PGA Tour radio. There weren't internet sites. You know, it was just not the same. That's not to say that in their own way that they didn't deal with a lot of stuff, but they deal with a lot of stuff now for sure.
Absolutely, they all do.
Your book was
Bob,
your book. Go ahead.
You probably don't know this, Bob, but Gary was in Milwaukee when Tiger debuted.
And I know that.
Okay,
I know that.
And he was also in Las Vegas when Tiger won. So he has kind of an interesting double.
I was in Las Vegas when Tiger won, and I was there when he won the Masters. I think I'm the only one who was at both of those. But all that means is I'm old. So
that's right.
You know, look, the book was out a while back. It got a lot of good publicity. What kind of feedback did you get? Was there any real strong, I don't want to say blowback, but who came up and said, "Wow, I can't believe you said this"? Any memorable cases of people commenting?
There's just been a couple social media people that have done this. There are some hardcore Jack supporters. And to be honest with you, I think they did it without even reading the book. Because, because if you read it, it's not meant to disparage one or the other. But I think you can tell from my discussion here, at the end, I gave a slight nod to Tiger. And I did so very sheepishly. And I admit it, it's hard. I mean, because there's a ton of evidence on Jack's side. But what swayed me is basically the field strength stuff. I mean, and also, Tiger had some runs of dominance that Jack didn't quite have. 15, winning by 15 at the U.S. Open, 12 at the Masters, and 8 at the Open. Jack never won majors by those amounts. Winning 4 straight majors. Jack never won more than 2 in a row. Jack, I don't think, ever had a winning season more than 7. Tiger had 2. Obviously, they both had a lot of prolific winning. So, I skew it towards Tiger, but there's some people who are dead set against, the fields were stronger in Jack's day. And I'm like, well, okay, if you think that, but I mean, I've just kind of pointed out to you, like, why I don't think that's true. I mean,
it's not true.
Common sense just tells you that, there's way more players today. Jack, I'll tell you a quick story. Jack told a story himself when I interviewed him for the book. In 1962, his rookie year. All right. So he didn't go to Q school. And back then you had to be top 60 on the PGA Tour to be exempt. But as the reigning U.S. Amateur winner, he had won the Amateur in 61. He was given an invite to the LA Open. That was his first tournament as a pro, and he made the cut. And I think we all know he made like $33. But back then, if you made a cut, you got to play the next week. Well, Jack kept making cuts. He wasn't winning, but he made 6 or 7 cuts in a row, so he kept playing. And finally, the tour was going to Tucson, and he decided to take the week off. So the very next tournament that was on the books was the very first Doral, 1962.
Yeah.
And so Jack said, I had every intention of going down there to Monday qualify because I was not in the field. And he said, when I went to sign up, it was a 144-player field. There was only 130 entries. And so they just put me in. That would never happen today.
Wow.
Ever. I mean, we know how, the alternate list is miles long. There's PGA Tour Americas, Korn Ferry Tour, DP World Tour. In Jack's day, the DP World Tour really was not much until like around 1970. I mean, so look at how many more players there are. It's just, to me, it's common sense that it's deeper. And so, but that's really the only blowback I've gotten. I think people who read the book come away probably appreciating the fact that it wasn't about knocking one guy or the other. It was kind of appreciating them both.
Yeah, I just look at it like if you examine all the parts of their game, Tiger had more weapons than Jack ever did. And you can debate, oh, Tiger was crooked off the tee. Well, he wasn't that crooked his first couple of years.
No,
but Jack never had a wedge game. I mean, if Jack had Tiger's wedge game, of course, he didn't miss that many greens either. No. But Tiger did stuff we'd never seen.
Tiger was amazingly accurate early on. And this is another aspect. I think the advance in technology in a way hurt Tiger. Not because he didn't benefit from it, but because other players caught up. It closed the It
was an equalizer. Working the ball became a lot harder, which he wanted to play golf like Ben Hogan, hit the shot that's called for. And when the ball doesn't want to curve as much, it made it a lot harder for him to hit those shots that, frankly, most other players on the tour don't work the ball both ways.
When he went to
you're right about that.
When Tiger went to a longer shaft, the driver, he was playing with the shorter shaft for a while other players were going to a longer one. That's when Phil made his famous, Tiger's playing with inferior equipment quip. And actually what Phil really meant was that he wasn't playing with the stuff available to him. A lot of people took it to be a knock on Nike. It maybe partly was, but it was also Tiger wasn't maximizing what he could use. And finally, he started to see that he had lost some distance because players were using a longer shaft of their driver.
They were catching up to him.
When Tiger went to the longer shaft, he lost accuracy. And that's when he started missing more fairways. And that, believe it or not, like 68 to 70% percentage of fairways he had early was drifting into the 50s. And Tiger fought that the rest of his career, and when he does play again, I'm sure he'll fight it again. But he's not going to give up the length that driver gives him because he wants to hit it out there. They all do. So, and also, to your point, Gary, about not being able to work the ball. I mean, look at a guy like Greg Norman or even Nick Price to some degree. Those guys drove it on a string with a wooden driver. Yeah. When bigger-headed drivers and metal drivers came along, they lost their advantage. Yeah. Because those guys could swing hard at it and still hit it straight. Nobody else could. They swung hard with that small-headed driver, and if they missed it, that thing was going wide right or left. And I think, look, that's probably a topic for another day. But when we're talking about when we're talking about reining in equipment, if they would make the driver head smaller, that would probably really help.
I think that would bring back the distance problem faster than anything else.
Right, probably better than the ball.
Yeah.
So,
did you get any feedback from Tiger after the book came out, Bob?
I have not seen Tiger since, except for a brief moment there in Hartford.
Yeah.
And Tiger has never said anything. I've written 3 books that had him partly in them, and my sense is that he's just Tiger's passive aggressive. He's not going to say anything, but he doesn't like the idea that you did them. And
he doesn't like other people making money off him.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't need the money. It's just, I kind of understand that, but yeah, he's there was that painter he sued.
As I said to one of his people, one time I had somebody say, well, these books are unauthorized. And I said, yeah, true. But I mean, if I were to write a book today about Harry Truman, that would be unauthorized. I mean, it can't be authorized. I mean, I go, some of the best books are the ones that don't have that cooperation because they're not skewed. There's there's no deference. And the other point about the money is of course, as Gary, both of you know, I mean, what they would make on a book.
Right.
I mean, they're not doing a day outing for that.
No,
You know, I
insignificant.
mean, so it's comical that they make a big deal
They're
out
not
of
doing
it.
a meet and greet for that for an hour.
Right. So, you know, this is what we do. We write. And by the way, you guys, the players, a lot of their endorsement deals hinge on the exposure that they get from the media.
Right.
And so, you know, when I worked at ESPN, SI, they run a picture of Tiger and he's wearing his Nike hat. Well,
Right.
that's exactly what they're paying for, right? So, you know, or he's on the Golf Channel, he's on, you know, it could be anybody. Well, how many times do those exposures get magnified? That's why they're paying Tiger all that money. Still to
Right.
this day, they're still hoping. You know, the new company, Sunday Red, is obviously banking on him being in public, playing or being TGL or doing whatever, wearing that garb. That's how they expose it. So it works both ways, you know. So, but look, I get it. You're right, Gary. I understand. What I think what they also lose out on is that there's probably far more people that read our stuff online, magazines, back in the day, newspapers, than read a book.
Yeah.
But for some
sure.
reason, because it's there in the book, it bothers them more.
Well,
Well,
they
it
should be
sits around longer.
thanking you for preserving his legacy, or you know, really all of us. Really, we're glorified PR people. We're out there covering tournaments and reporting what they did and putting it down in print in whatever form, and we're memorializing their legacy. And that's helpful to them. If they were smart, they would realize they could use us to present the image they want to present. But, you know, guys get in a press conference, they can only be themselves, whether it's
Right.
Zach Johnson or Scotty or whomever. I'm trying to think of Ed Fiore, you know, guys who maybe weren't as good in media conferences. You know, you're one-on-one with the media in a room. You can control your image and the way the public sees you. And if you want to be a jerk, then you're going to come across as a jerk.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You know, you control it. And they don't see it that way. They see it as an intrusion.
How many guys probably, you know, it's just human nature. They get a pass a little bit from us.
Most of them.
If they're good to deal with. It just can't be helped. I mean, I think Jack has gotten a pass on some things over the years that, you know, maybe you would have been a little more critical of him, but he's so good typically that it's harder to do that. Tiger was easier because he wasn't, although he was available, he wasn't, you know, he was easier to, and look, Phil, I think benefited from that a lot. He had a pretty good relationship with the media over the years. And I think when he got into his trouble with the insider trading, he probably didn't catch the grief for it that he might have if he had been a jerk. And again, like that's probably not, you know, the way you would do it by the book, but it's just kind of the way that evolves. You're going to get a little bit of a pass, I think, if you
stay and answer the questions.
Yep.
Just answer the questions until we're done. And that's what
as Bob said, it used to be easier when there was just one press conference. Now they got to do 6 or 8. It's really a different era.
It makes it very tough.
Well,
Bob,
is the sequel going to be Arnie versus Tiger?
I don't know if I got another one in me.
How about Zach Johnson versus Tiger?
Yeah, or maybe Y.E. Yang, the Y.E. Yang story. The only man to take Tiger down who faced a final round deficit.
Well, you know, Bernhard Langer won 46 times. That's more than halfway to Tiger on the senior circuit. So,
yep.
Bernie versus Tiger.
Yep. Very good in his own right. Yep.
Do you think, and I know you have no way of knowing either, what's your guess as to whether we really see Tiger tee it up in competition again other than TGL?
It is a guess, but I would call it an educated guess, and that is that he's going to want to.
Right.
I don't think he wants it to have ended this way. You know,
right.
He hasn't played for 2 years now. I think he was ready to come back this year. I feel, look, I don't know, but I feel pretty confident he was trying to get ready to play the Masters when the police incident occurred near his home. You know, it was only a couple of weeks before. He had been practicing. He had played TGL. He sort of intimated in some of that video that he was getting ready for the Masters. So I can't imagine that he doesn't want to come back. I'm curious. I'm wondering if this time away allowed some other things to heal. You know, the back surgery,
Yes.
you know, now he's going to be a year beyond that, which helps that. Obviously, less wear and tear on the leg. Clearly, his game is going to need to be ramped up. And there's still so many physical skills there that's possible. I've advocated for a long time that Tiger really should try to play some Champions Tour golf. It would be great for the game. It would be really good for him because that's how you get competitive, I think, by not, you know, playing at home can only get you so far.
Right.
But if you're playing against those guys on TV with a gallery, but you get a golf cart, so he can avoid the wear and tear, but he can still try to get competitive, you know, hitting chip shots under pressure, having to hold a putt, you know, and look, those guys, I don't think he waltzes out there and does very well right away, but it'll get the adrenaline going. And then if you do want to go play the Masters, at least you've competed.
Be ready. Yeah.
These last couple years when he's shown up to these majors without hardly playing, it's, you know, you're showing up to Augusta and Scotty Scheffler's playing his 6th event of the year and he hitting balls every day. You're going to try to compete with that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
when he played with Neil Shipley at the Masters that last round, that was not a good look. He looked something was wrong.
Yep, he was not good that day, and he really wasn't good the whole year. And then, of course, he ends up having another back surgery, which was disc replacement surgery, which, you know, is serious. But it was his 7th back surgery.
Yeah.
So
what drives guys off the senior tour usually is they're trying to come back from an injury. They're practicing, they're getting ready, and they get hurt again.
Right.
So, you know, it's a dilemma. And I think a lot of people like to see Tiger play somewhere, even if it's just TGL. But yeah, everybody would like to see it. I don't know if physically he's going to be able to get there.
That's the question. I mean, you know, my thought would be pie in the sky. Obviously, you play the TGL. You come back and you play in the Bahamas. You play the father-son. Then you do a little TGL in January.
Yep.
Find a Champions Tour event to play before Riviera. Play Riviera. Then find another Champions Tour event to play before the Masters. You know, because you're not going to have to walk. People thought, oh, you know, he's gonna want to play at Scioto at the U.S. Senior Open. He'd have to walk.
No.
You know, like, but the 54-hole Champions Tour events are golf carts, and Tiger, you know, has joked about wanting a buggy. Has said, okay, well there you go, and that'll be he'll enjoy it. Like he'll be for probably the first time in years, the Champions Tour will be unbelievable scene if he were to
be relevant.
And
absolutely amazing.
And he would give them a boost, and at the same time, he gives himself a chance to prepare for the 72-hole stroke play events he's got to play while walking.
Yep.
Well, Tiger versus Jack, it's a really good read. Everything you'd want to know about Jack or Tiger's in there. Well, almost everything.
Right.
Great job, Bob Harig. Thanks for being on the Golf Show 2.0.
Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.